Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of That Was Random. So, I try to stay away from politics as much as possible on this channel, but sometimes some things and with actors or actresses and basically, the entertainment community in general, sometimes politics mix, and a perfect example is basically, Ronald Reagan, former U.S. president. He was a known actor, and he became, politician and later president of the United States. So it's not really a far cry. And this is pretty interesting since, I am both a resident of New York City and New York State. But, rumors are swirling around that Cynthia Nixon is going to run for governor of New York. Now, for those that don't know, Cynthia Nixon was one of the leading cast members of, Sex and the City. She played Maranda, the career-minded lawyer. And, if it sounds like I know a lot about Sex and the City, number one, I really don't. I just know the characters' names. Number two, I'll have to admit, basically, that I actually found both Cynthia Nixon and I think her name was Kirsten Davis, the one that played Charlotte. I was really attracted to both of them, at that time. Actually, looking at Cynthia Nixon right now, she don't look that good, compared to when she was younger and in Sex and the City. But anyway, and admittedly, I had to watch a few episodes and, the first movie in an attempt to get laid. So, yeah, I could be a sleazebag sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But, here's the interesting thing about her exploratory campaign to be governor of New York. It's actually, become the talk of, both New York City and New York State. Because here's the thing. The mayor of New York City and the current governor, whom Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Bill de Blasio, they got a bit of a beef with each other, Now, it's not surprising, this is something that's well documented in New York politics. The mayor of New York City and the governor of the state usually end up butting heads big time. But this is kind of cantankerous, and with Cynthia Nixon basically possibly putting her name out there as a possibility, that's causing Governor Cuomo to act kind of petrified, especially since we just went through a big storm not a big storm, but, a snowstorm, a winter storm in New York that basically, New York City, that kind of put people on edge. And this is what Andrew Cuomo was talking about. And I'm like, dude, you that pet? Really? Really? You've been governor for 2 terms and you're this petrified of a celebrity possibly running who hasn't even announced yet? Really? Now, there's more into this than meets the eye, which I'm not going to go too much into, but not to bore you guys. But if you remember my last That Was Random with everyone going nuts about Oprah, saying Oprah should run for president, and how I'm like, wait, simmer down now and everything. Here I say that, but not as forcefully. And it's primarily because, like Ronald Reagan, basically, Ronald Reagan got involved in politics in a more localized level. Now, Cynthia Nixon, if she does run, I'm like, alright, cool and everything. She runs, she runs. If she wins, she wins, which I don't see her winning because, basically, as much of an activist she is, she is, really, really divisive, way too divisive and everything. And not as divisive as Trump, but seriously divisive. So I don't see her winning if she does run, but I'm actually cool with this because basically, instead of jumping to the automatic top level like our current president did, who has no political experience, and one of the reasons why the country's kind of getting in turmoil right now, as opposed to when we had Reagan, who was a president. At least, the guy was like, Reagan A was like, he wasn't in like, a private business. He was in business, but in a public business. So he had to deal with other people, number one. And number two, he actually ran as governor of a state before going to the big job. So he took some steps and everything. So he proved himself to be competent. So a decent step like this for Cynthia Nixon, if she does want to end up running for president in the future, it's like, you know what? If you start as governor and you do a decent job, yeah, it can happen. So, yeah, I'm more inclined to be like, all right, cool. You want to run. But, that's my take on it. What is your take? Do you give a crap, or do you know who Cynthia Nixon is, or do you really not give a crap? And has any of you guys or any ladies just watched some movies just to get with someone? Please drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave or on Twitter at Token Dave 80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by, and I'll catch all of you later.